Story: The Hollow Beneath Blackwood Hill. I had walked past Blackwood Hill more times than I could count before I ever thought to climb it. From the road it looked ordinary enough, a bulge of earth covered in gnarled trees, rising like the knuckle of some buried giant beneath the horizon. Children used to dare each other to climb to its top, though few ever did. Something about it discouraged visitors. When I was a boy, I asked my grandmother why no one built houses on it. She only shook her head. "The ground remembers things," she said. "Best not to live where the ground still remembers." I thought it was just one of her strange sayings. She had many, but years later, when I returned to the town as a grown man, her words came back to me with weight I didn't expect. I had been away for years, living in the city, trading my time for money and my youth for exhaustion. When she died, I inherited her small cottage at the edge of town. I decided to stay a while, if only to sort her belongings and recover some sense of quiet. From the kitchen window, I could see Blackwood Hill rising beyond the trees, its summit dark even under sunlight. On my third night there, I dreamed of it. I saw the hill bare of trees, its crown split open like a cracked tooth. From within, light pulsed a color I cannot name, though my dreaming mind accepted it. Something vast shifted under the soil, pressing upward, aching to be free. When I awoke, my sheets were damp with sweat and my chest ached as though something had pressed on it all night. I told myself it was nothing more than grief and the strangeness of being back in my childhood home. But the dreams returned. Each night I drew closer to the summit in sleep, and each night the hill seemed less like earth and more like skin stretched taut over whatever writhed beneath. By the seventh night, I could not resist. The path up Blackwood Hill was little more than a deer trail, winding between roots and brambles. The air grew colder as I climbed, though it was midsummer and the forest below was thick with heat. The trees thinned until I stood on the crown of the hill, staring at a clearing of bare earth. At its center was a hollow. It looked like nothing more than a depression in the soil, as if a tree had fallen and left behind a scar. Yet the shape was too round, too deep, its edges too sharp. I knelt and felt the earth. It was warm, the wind stilled, birds fell silent. And then I heard it, a pulse, faint but steady, rising from the ground, like the heartbeat of something sleeping far below. I staggered back, but the earth gave way beneath me. The hollow was not shallow at all, but the mouth of a shaft, and I tumbled down before I could cry out. The fall was not long, though it felt endless. I struck earth and lay gasping in darkness. My flashlight had flown from my pocket and lay a few feet away. I crawled to it, hands shaking, and when the beam flared to life, I wished it hadn't. The shaft was lined with stone, but not cut stone. It was grown curved surfaces that bore the texture of bone. The walls sweated with moisture and veins of pale mineral ran through them like nerves. The air was thick with the smell of copper and moss. Passages branched in every direction, tunneling outward like the arteries of a buried heart. And the pulse was louder now. It filled my chest, syncing with my own heartbeat, until I could not tell which was mine and which was the hill. Something should have driven me to climb back up, to claw my way out of that shaft. But curiosity, or madness, pressed me onward. I chose a passage at random and walked. The walls narrowed, brushing my shoulders, then widened into chambers where the floor sloped downward in spirals. Stalactites hung like teeth. Pools of dark water reflected my light, though ripples stirred their surfaces, though I had thrown no stone. In one chamber one found carvings. They were not letters, but grooves etched deep into the stone spirals within spirals. Jagged slashes, shapes that made my vision swim if I stared too long. I felt certain they were not made by any hand I could recognize. They felt older than language itself. As I traced them with my light, the pulse deepened, becoming a sound, not just a thud, but a whisper beneath it. Words not spoken but thought, crawling into my mind like worms into soil. Awake. The word wasn't mine. It came from below. I fled the chamber, but the tunnels guided me downward no matter which path I chose. Gravity seemed to shift. The air grew thick, pressing against my lungs. My ears rang with pressure as though I had descended into the deep sea, and then I entered the hollow. It was not a chamber but a cavern vast enough that my light could not find its end. The floor was slick, veined with glowing minerals that pulsed in time with the heartbeat. In the center rose a mass that I cannot properly describe. It was both stone and flesh, both mountain and organ, a bulging knot of substance that heaved slowly as though breathing. Eyes opened along its surface. Hundreds, then thousands, each one rolling toward me, each one reflecting my trembling form. A mouth split the surface, not where a mouth should be, but everywhere at once, jagged, gaping, dripping with a fluid that steamed as it struck the cavern floor, and the whisper became a chorus. Awake. I fell to my knees. Images tore through me, skies blackened with swarms of wings, oceans boiling, stars dragged screaming into void. The thing beneath Blackwood Hill was not sleeping. It was waiting for someone to hear it, to see it, to let it know the world above was ripe again. I do not remember leaving the hollow. I only remember stumbling through trees at dawn, my clothes soaked, my skin raw with scratches. My neighbors found me at the edge of the forest, muttering nonsense. But the dreams did not stop. Each night I see it more clearly. Its eyes blink behind my own. Its heartbeat thrums in my chest. When I pass people in town, I feel their pulses too, as if all hearts beat not for themselves but for it. I have begun to write its carvings in my sleep. My walls are covered with spirals and slashes I do not remember drawing. I tried to paint over them, but the shapes bleed through. The townsfolk whisper about me now. They say madness runs in my family, that my grandmother was half mad herself. They do not know the truth. She was not mad. She was keeping watch. She knew what the ground remembered. The hollow beneath Blackwood Hill is still there. I feel it even now, pressing upward, stretching the soil like skin. Its voice grows stronger each night, and I know that one day soon the hill will split, not because it forces its way out, no, because I will let it. I will open the way. I must.